Do you have someone who knits or crochets in your life? Well then check out this Kato electric yarn winder. It's electric so you don't have to crank it and break your arm. I got it in this pretty purple. So happy holidays from me and Archie. He already left me a special present. That's why now he wears a diaper. Anyways, I'm so excited to unbox this. It comes nicely packaged. It comes with the yarn winder base, the top where the yarn gets wrapped around, the tension thing, the directions and screws, and a charger. The directions are nice and thorough. Attach the two main pieces together and twist. I also found this bit in the bottom of the box. This is very important. I tried to put it together myself, but then I gave up and actually read the directions. Comes with the screws and screwdriver. If you're worried about losing screws, they included extra. Screw the bar into the tension thing. Put the bar into the slot. Push it in until it's aligned with the screw hole. Either way, that's what she said. Screw that thing in there, but don't drop it like I did. I love screwing things. Make sure it's nice and tight. Thread the yarn through the hole, then through the spring things. All ready, and then just slide the yarn into the cone. There's a dial that you can turn to pick the speeds. I guess I forgot to film myself turning it on for the first time, but just let it keep spinning, 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 and sometimes your yarn will get tangled, but this one automatically stops. And once you fix the tangle, you can start winding again. This is my ball fresh off the thing, but remember to always double wind. I threaded it up, so let's do it again. And man, can it spin. This is sped up though. But soon enough, you'll have a beautiful cake like this one. Look at how big and beautiful and voluptuous it is. This is perfect if you have no idea what to get a knitter or crocheter in your life. They're even having a sale right now too. If you like this, check it out. It's linked in the orange card below. Happy holidays and happy yarning. Bye!
Hi, I'm Meredith. I'm an entomologist and artist. I design insect-themed knitting patterns, and recently on knitting TikTok there is a big trend going around where people are giving their knitting hot takes. And I saw it a bunch of times and I sort of stepped back and forth on making one, and then I realized that a lot of the videos I was watching and enjoying were mean. And they were videos where if I was interacting with the person in that video and they were talking to me like that, I simply would not want to continue the conversation. I would not want to be the person that they were talking to. And so instead of making a knitting hot takes video, because I think it's easier to do that badly than to do it well, I want to make an observation about something that I've seen on the knitting, crocheting, the fiber side of the internet lately. And that observation is that we're all freaking exhausted. We're all tired. There are so many knitting content creators and knitters out there who are exhausted, and this video of mine is kind of inspired by something I was talking to with Louise the other day, who just made a really incredible video about how they've been handling their mental health in the context of knitting and having a hobby and being online with that hobby. And I've been sort of turning this around in my brain for a while over why we're exhausted. It's a hobby, it's something that we're supposed to do to relax. And I think that it's kind of difficult to think about knitting as something that you do online, and knitting as something that you can be an influencer for and something that you can monetize. And I say this as a knitwear designer who's recently started selling her designs, as someone who really supports knitwear designers and tech editors and people who profit from that, influencers, whatnot, you get my drift. But knitting is historically not something that has existed in the context of kind of the social media wave that it's existing in now. I say this as someone who's been knitting for 17 years. I'm very active in knitting Facebook groups online. I've been in knitting circles, right? And online is completely different now, even just from a year ago when I first started posting about knitting. And I think there are a few reasons for this. I think that we all need to think pretty critically about how we're engaging with the projects that we start and the projects that we share online, and how the projects that we share online kind of indirectly put pressure on us to finish those or to meet a certain benchmark in a certain amount of time. And I recently tried to make kind of a knitting challenge series about finishing this sweater, my Desert Dweller sweater, because I was like, oh, if I post about this on the internet, I'll feel pressured to post about it, so I'll meet my deadline. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about, you know, even if I hadn't had a deadline for this, if I'd still been posting about it, I still would have felt pressured. I still would have been anxious to complete this and to look like someone who could knit fast. And I can knit fast. It's none of anyone's business because who cares how fast I knit, right? But I think that new knitters especially are getting sucked into this, I'm going to learn how to knit and then I'm going to knitting challenge and I'm going to update my progress like this, that, and the other. And I think that that is a good way to learn how to knit. I think that learning how to knit quickly and accumulating skills quickly is a good way to kind of guerrilla teach yourself knitting, right? But I also think that there is an argument here for the ways in which we are valuing quantity over quality, especially in the online sphere of knitting, where the algorithm wants us to produce more and we feel like we do have to create more and more and more. That being said, there are creators who do knitting challenges that I absolutely enjoy and I love watching them. But at the same time, doing a knitting challenge isn't for everyone. And trying to copy someone else's content or jump on a trend before you know if it really fits you and the way in which you pursue creating a garment, I think ultimately can do more harm than help. So if you're a new knitter, or if you're someone who's feeling fatigued by the knitting world right now online, there are a couple things that I'm doing that I think can help. And these are things that I'm doing to kind of retrain my brain that knitting is about quality over quantity. Luckily, I'm a PhD student with 0 free time on my hands, so I really have to produce quality over quantity. But I think that we need to sort of return to some of the foundational skills before we go off and start trying to knit 500 sweaters. So I think that there is a love letter to gauge swatching in here, something that I notoriously do not like, but I will preface this with saying that I've been knitting for 17 years. And my attention is really consistent, and I've been doing color work a really long time. I think, there are some people that can pick up knitting and just immediately get it, immediately get color work, immediately just slip into it. But it's also really easy to pick up a project and not knit a gauge swatch and think that you're going to figure it out because everyone else online is knitting the sweater in, a month, and then get really discouraged because your tension isn't great, or you don't know if you knit loose or tight, so the needles that you're choosing are different than what you might want to use if you want to have something with an accurate gauge, this, that, and the other. Swatching is good. Swatching teaches you about yourself as a knitter. Swatching teaches you about a project that you would like to do. Maybe you hate the wobble stitch and you spend ages costing on a sweater and knitting inches to get to the wobble stitch and you just hate it. You can avoid that if you do a swatch and you learn the wobble stitch. That being said, going back to stitches, there are so many beautiful, wonderful books that exist, vintage knitting books. I have Alice Starmore knitting books, Celtic knitting books that I absolutely love. Japanese knitting books are fantastic. Then there's the Nordic Mittens knitting book, and you get this really cool kind of historical perspective and geographical perspective on knitting through engaging with these books and engaging with these patterns. So I think that this conversation that I'm trying to bring up over, even though it's hard, I want to say I'm starting a conversation, I want to say I'm having a conversation, but really I'm sitting and knitting my glove and talking to myself in the front facing camera of my iPhone so that I can make sure that my hair looks nice, which it never looks nice, which is I have to record a lot when it does. But anyway, so it's hard to have a conversation when you're talking to yourself on a screen, but I do think that thinking about quality versus quantity is important in addressing the ongoing fatigue I see in knitters and content creators for knitting, and that sometimes it's nice to return to the basics and learn a new stitch and spend a while teaching yourself a new swatch. And I think that a knitting challenge that I'm going to do in 2025, which I'm happy to share, I started a YouTube because I talk for a really long time, but beg your pardon, a knitting challenge that I'm going to try to work on in the new year is going to be just learning new stitches. I have the Japanese knitting books, I have the Alice Stormer book, I have a bunch of fingering weight yarn that isn't going anywhere and hasn't gone anywhere. And I'm going to make a big shapeless shawl trying to learn as many different stitches as I can. And I'm really excited for that. And if anyone wants to do that with me, let me know. And I'll tell you what books and what stitches I'm using. But I think that we need to return to growing, developing, and appreciating foundational skills and quality in knitwear before we jump into trying to make a million sweaters at once. And that's just my 2 cents based on conversations I've had and videos I've seen from beginner knitters. And just experiencing being someone who's come into the knit world sphere in the last year. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's all. Mwah.
My name's Miranda, and I have hand knit a lot of sweaters, and I wanted to show you guys my favorites. So this first one is my like magnum opus sweater. This one is I self-drafted all by myself. I self-drafted the pattern, the like chart and everything, and it is just so cute, and it reminds me of home because I am from Wisconsin, and it's just, I just love it so much. Okay, this one is probably my most worn sweater. It is the Sonia sweater by pt.08, and it's knit pretty oversized. I think my gauge was off, but it's knit in this like really pretty blow yarn. It's Cloud Paca from Knit and Crochet. It's very similar to like Drops Air, but I can get it here like locally. This was the first colorwork sweater I actually ever knit. First like Fair Isle. It's a free pattern called the Nova sweater, and it's knit in Eddie Bauer yarn. I love this one so much. I love the fit. It like fits perfectly, like the sleeves aren't too long, and this pattern is really nice. It's very like holiday but also very wintry, so I feel like I can like wear it all the time, and it's very warm but also really light, so it doesn't look like too bulky or anything like that. Okay, lastly for sweaters is my Olga sweater by pt.08. I love this one. I think the stripes are so fun. I had never done anything with stripes before, and so this is like really different for me. I feel like it's like out of my comfort zone for something to wear too, but I had this leftover Eddie Bauer yarn that I really like wanted something to do with because I hadn't used this like darker color. The project I wanted to use it for like didn't work out, but I like love it. I don't wear this one as often as I should, but it's so cute. For cardigans, this one is like loosely based on the cardigan number 7 by My Favorite Knitwear. Except I didn't do the bell sleeves, and I changed the button band because I wanted it to be more similar to like one of those Cezanne cardigans because I love like the double knit button band. I think it's like so cute, and it turned out like perfect. It's like the perfect oversize. It's really cozy, it's really warm, and I love this color. It's like kind of a wine color. It's just perfect. I have my cardigan number 9, my favorite knitwear, which is also knit in this Cloud Paca yarn. It's so cute. It kind of blocked bigger than I thought it was going to be, but I love it so much. It's like the perfect gray cardigan. It fits like the way it fits on my arms is like perfect. I love this one so much, and you can subtly see the details here with like the saddle shoulders, so this one's so cute.
So 3 months ago, my sister found this gorgeous, beautiful laying yarn in Cloud 002. That's the colorway. And asked me to knit her a sweater, which I had never done before, but I'm willing to do it for my lovely twin. We have this now. So here's a sweater laid flat. This is the Stockholm sweater pattern by pt.08, except I switched up with the color of the ribbing to make it green. I think it just brings out her favorite colors that are already in the rainbow variegated yarn. It originally calls for a much smaller and thinner yarn than I used, but we just really loved the colors in this, and so I made it work. I just did the math, which she helped me with, and was a struggle sometimes. And I need to make like 5,000 more sweaters immediately.
I was going through my videos and I realized it's been so long since we just chatted about knitting or just in general. So we're gonna do that today. We're gonna do that. So I'm actively working on 2 whips right now. One is the Starbird cardigan by Blue. This is a bottom-up cable cardigan with like a really fun neckline. I'm like half of the way done with the bottom. So cute. I love how the like front of the cardigan is knitted as you go. Really cute. Love her. This is my first time ever doing cables and they're so much easier than I thought they would be. So love this one. And the next project, we are not going to talk about all of the ends over here. This is a Curious Crop by What Lydia Made. It's coming out really cute. Just closed the hole for the front, then I'm going to work on the back. But yeah, super cute. I also recently bought some yarn from Anzula where I work that was just like in a box somewhere. It's a dye to color, we are not sure, but it's so pretty. There's like a little bit of blues in here. It's fingering weight. I have 3 skeins. Somebody tell me what I should make with this because I don't know really any fingering projects other than the Curious Crop. Let me know.
$200 for yarn for a sweater is a lot of money, but it is 6 to 8 weeks of entertainment for me. Or at least that's what I try to tell myself before making my first knitting for Olive purchase. I have mentioned before that I'm really sensitive to the Drops Kid Silk mohair. I don't want to give up on mohair altogether because I think the look is very pretty. People that have tried their mohair merino combination say that it's the softest out there, so I still want to try it. I want to give it a shot. Then I'm in this situation where I lose regardless. Because on one end, I spent $200 on a sweater that I can't even wear because it's so itchy. Or I end up really liking it, but I can't spend $200 on every sweater that I make. So no matter what, I lose.
Let's do a yearly roundup. Here's everything that I made in 2024. I've got quite the pile here. So, I guess we'll go through these in kind of chronological order. I have a really bad memory, so you get what you get. Okay, first up, and this is one of my favorite things throughout the year, although I'm probably gonna say that about a bunch of stuff, but this is my hood scarf by Pearl Soho. I finished this at the very beginning of the year when I was recovering from knee surgery, and it's lovely, and I wish I had more occasion to wear it. Okay, next, this is my 6 of Daisies cardigan. This is by a designer called Dagan, or her name is Lindsay Dagan, but Dagan is her brand. And I didn't post about this because I was taking a break from TikTok at the time, but this is a knitted in the flat colorwork cardigan. I made it in like a wool alpaca tweed, which I have some thoughts on, but it came out pretty nice. It's a good basic with a little bit of like visual interest, and I like to wear the sponge. Okay, next up we've got my May camisole, which is my only summer knit that I did this year, because I don't really like summer knits. Maybe I can talk about that in another video, but I did make this. This is in a Noro yarn, Noro Sonata, I think, in the shade Chartreuse, obviously. It's just a nice camisole. It's got a really pretty, like, neck detailing, and this is, like, some lightweight fun. It's not great for, like, the depths of summer. I do still sweat a lot in this, and it's kind of an uncomfortable fiber to sweat in. I think it's, like, cotton, silk, linen, like, it's a big blend because it's Noro. But it's a nice little summer basic, fun to put with some shorts or a skirt, and yeah, my one and only summer knit of this year. I'll toss these in here as well, because I'm pretty sure I finished these this year. Couldn't tell you when. I have no documentation of these. I only have proof that I bought the yarn, and I have the finished object. I don't even really remember knitting these, but I think I finished these this year. These are just a pair of brown ribbed socks, which, I mean, they look goofy because I don't have sock blockers, and you can see also, I guess technically I didn't finish these, I didn't weave in the ends. Truly, like, I don't know where these socks came from, other than I think I remember finishing this year. But yeah, they're just an all-over rib sock, heel flap and gusset construction, so they've got kind of a cool, like, triangle deal going on here. I love a ribbed sock. I haven't knitted a lot of socks this year, But these are fun, and I should probably get around to finishing these. But yeah, just a basic sock project. These are in Knitpicks Hawthorne. Couldn't tell you the color. It's one of their like kettle dyed sock yarns. We're gonna do a brief interjection here from the knitting to do sewing, because I think this is the only garment that I sewed successfully this year. I had some not successes, which I will not show in here, but this is a dress that well, the pattern is called the Hallen dress. I don't remember what the designer's name is, but I'll like put up the details if I remember, it's this sundress, which kind of looks like nothing, but it's got kind of a high neck, and then it has this really pretty scoop back detail. So this is perfect for like the beach or like a summer farmer's market, anything where I'm gonna be like super hot and sweaty. This is made from a linen dress that I thrifted that was like a couple sizes too big. So I just kind of like finagled the pattern pieces to fit on the existing garment and used some of the existing seams and finishings and stuff like the hem is already done. So yeah, this was lovely. I want to make another one of these dresses. I have fabric for it. I've been meaning to make it for honestly years at this point. So I guess maybe we'll get to that this year. We'll see. Okay, and then I'm also going to interlude here for my one crochet project of the year, which I also can't believe. I feel like I did more crocheting, but maybe it really was just this. This is a little like cloth tapestry deal, which I still haven't hung up. Oops. This is the cloth face, and it's just a nice little wall hanging. There's another pattern by this designer that I think I might want to do in the future, which is like this on a much bigger scale. But yeah, there's my one crochet project of the year, and I love her. She's so cute. I think we kind of look alike. Okay, and then some of the bigger sweater projects of this year. This is my Chantel sweater, which, I mean, just look at it. It's beautiful. Is this big slip stitch pattern, wool mohair sweater. It's very warm. I'll maybe put a picture up here because I did actually take pictures in this sweater and I think they came out really nice. But I wore this for Thanksgiving, so I guess this was my Thanksgiving sweater. I'm still trying to figure out how to style it. I love the color, I love the fabric. It's a little warm, that's whatever. But I'm just trying to figure out how I like to put this with my other clothes. But I mean, it's a neutral, it's a basic crew neck sweater, saddle shoulder, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, and then last but not least, I'm perhaps cheating on this one a little bit. I finished this like a couple days into the new year, but I'm gonna include it anyway because most of the work was done during 2024. It was really just like one last cuff and finishing. So I think we can include it here, right? Like, who's checking? Here is my, oh, I'm holding it backwards. My Baba dupe sweater, which I need to have a name for because I am planning to write a pattern for this. But it's massive. I can't put it all in the same frame. I just posted a video about it with me wearing it if you want to see it. But it has this really beautiful detailing around the neckline. It's oversized in every way imaginable. It's heavy, it's chunky, it's super warm, and this is about to go into the blocking bath like immediately after I film this video. But yeah, I think that's everything. I got a little self-conscious with these because like I did not knit for a good portion of this year. I like finished my 6 of Daisies cardigan in April, I think, and then I just stopped until like August or September, and then I was, you know, studying for an exam and doing all kinds of other stuff, so I didn't have a lot of knitting time, I guess, in 2024, but I'm still really happy with the stuff that I put out. I didn't realize that I kind of have a color palette, like with some rusty orange and celery green and dark brown, so that's kind of fun to look back on because I did not do that on purpose. And I guess we're looking forward to the new year and lots of new creations, so thank you guys for being here and for following along with the journey, and hopefully we get to connect more in 2025.
Here's a knitting take. I'll let you decide if it's hot or not. I use acrylic yarn all the time and I don't really have any problems with it, except when I do, it's always Lion Brand yarn. Like, you might be thinking, oh, like Red Heart Super Saver is my least favorite. Yeah, but when you go in the store and you touch it, you know what you're getting, and I can respect that. However, I touch a Lion Brand yarn and I'm like, this feels okay, and then I get home and I start working on it and it's miserable. I've been working on 2 projects that both use Lion Brand yarn, and they have torn up my fingers where I touch the yarn a lot. My main problem is that I feel like Lion Brand positions itself as a quality yarn, and that's just not my experience.
This is day 14 of knitting the porcelain sweater. This sweater has caused me so many headaches and I have made so many mistakes. I have learned so much and I fell in love with color work. I'm about to be done with this chart right here, and as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to work on the neckline, which is my favorite part of the project because I can start trying it on and it looks like a real sweater to me. Some of you guys also suggested that it's important to do the neckline before you start doing the arms because it can affect the length of the arms. For me, that's so important because I like my hands to be covered by my sweaters like this. I just feel like it's just cozier and it just feels better to me. As far as my gauge goes, it is turning out to be a little bit oversized, and that's fine. I thought it was going to be like humongous. But as I'm knitting it, it is not that bad. This is how oversized I like my things to be either way. When I shared with you guys that I was making some mistakes in my color work, some of you guys suggested to put stitch markers every couple of stitches, and that's helped so much. I feel like I'm not making as many mistakes because I catch them really fast. I'm crossing my fingers that I can be done by Christmas. I'm still aiming for that. I'm gonna keep pushing through because I still need to do a pair of socks for my husband. I really want to give him that for Christmas. I really think having that neckline is gonna push me a little bit more to have it done because I just get so excited once that neck is done.